Hey, it's Box to Box.
Craig walks away. Craig walks away.
We know how much Craig hates MLS, apparently, right? According to some people, that he's just so disgusted that he's got to talk about it. Oh, God forbid. Yeah, Craig's going to be here. Wong is here. Jimmy's here. JC, Dubs. I'm Shams. So MLS making the news again this week, obviously, with the hire of Canada's new men's head coach, or should I say, the MLS Canada men's head coach. MLS getting involved in international football. You probably know this already, but essentially TFC, Montreal, and Vancouver, they have, through their philanthropic efforts, helped finance the hiring of Jesse Marsch as the MLS men's Canadian coach head. I can't get these things in order. It's really tough, isn't it? But listen, we got some good responses, though, on our YouTube video talking about this. What do we say here? So here's one, and I don't know. Here you go, Footy Prime. Canada is owned and run by MLS, you know, that product you devote most of your podcast time covering. You literally put CPL soccer in a corner on your podcast. Pretty fitting. The rest of the Canada soccer pyramid is controlled by 3 franchises. Whoa. It's like passive-aggressive and also really aggressive, all in one little comment there. I don't know why we're being kind of held.
Is it controlled by 3 franchises and a podcast?
We've got a lot of power, apparently. I like that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't know. Dave DeCola of the Supporters Club had a great one, though. This is so weird. Is it truly a donation, or will they be owed something? Maybe more of a say in who gets released when, i.e., we give you this amount of dollars, so Ozo is not to join you against the Netherlands. He'll see you in Atlanta. But I mean, listen, if you want to be cynical, do they have more power within that? I'm a cynical person. I'm not that cynical to think that is the case. Dubs, what do you think?
No, I tend to be cynical as well.
Having me? That's
me. Wow.
That would be me.
Jimmy's never been happier.
Is it you? No, it's not. So fucking have that.
Wow.
1 in 1,000.
You're Jimmy, so angry today.
That was just aggressive. Jimmy. We talked about being passive aggressive, being cynical. That was just full on aggressive.
Full on aggressive. At least you know what you're getting.
No, but I think there's something to what DeCola is saying, because it's philanthropy and you want to facilitate this hire. It's the landscape and the people who wield power working together for the greater good of the game. And yet you have to think that there's some fine print somewhere where there's been a handshake and a wink and a groin pat or something, that they're going to be getting something on the back end of it. Right? You have to think that. It's not just out of the goodness of their hearts that they're doing this. You would like to think that it is. But those types of deals don't really exist, I don't think.
I don't think they're going to give money on just for goodwill. There you go. Here, go get a good manager. Because how does that benefit them? And I agree with you. I think there's got to be something on the back end of it. Maybe after.
I think 26 is such a big time and a big year for MLS as well. And I think they're doing everything they can to promote that as much as they possibly can. Former MLS player, former MLS coach, Jesse Marsch coming into Canada, might not be Canadian, but he's MLS, and that's what's important to them.
See, I don't understand as well where, and maybe you guys can shed some light on this, but you've got 3 teams that are in Canada, but a part of an American league. And there's been no talk of our own domestic league being involved in this, which is the Canadian Premier League. And I'm wondering why they're not at the table as well, maybe being a part of this. Or are they?
They're already at the table.
Are they already at the table because of CSB and CSA?
No, the Canadian Premier League. There's no talk about them investing in this as a league.
Can they afford to? Maybe that's the reason. But I get what you're saying, though. Were they approached? Were the owners through CSB, were they approached? Can you help out here? Maybe they are, right? There were other private donations.
I'd be interested to know.
Fund this. Yeah, I think it's an important question to ask.
Can I read? I'm going to read off of our Twitter line. There was Jimmy McCreath
had a good one. Narrow-mindedness of cliques in Canada soccer. Establishment upset with Marsch hire revealing. Too entrenched in old ways of thinking, personal biases. Marsch has excellent CV. He can take national team. So basically, he was talking about us. He can take national team to next level, winning a game in major tournament, which would be a first for Canada. And then the next one was Shannon, and she said, "My nudes in profile." So,
well, let's talk about Shannon's.
her nudes in profile. So I clicked it. There's no nudes in her profile.
But I don't think we went critical. We were supportive of this hire.
Well, we were, besides Craig saying no American at first.
Well, originally, yeah. But then I think he kind of backtracked a little bit, saying he's a good choice, good coach.
Take the American. I remember him saying, take the American aside. And he did say good things about Jesse.
Yeah, listen, that's wrong, because we didn't bash Jesse Marsch. We all said that he's got good pedigree. He's coached at some very good clubs, good levels. Mm-hmm. We did say he hasn't done international football yet, so this is going to be a change for him. But we never said this was going to be a bad.
Proof is in the results.
He has done, though, right? As Bradley
was an assistant, but he hasn't been the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right.
But we supported it.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think what can you really say about this? I mean, it's Canada. You're not going to attract Sir Alex Ferguson, right? Yeah, there's a certain world that you operate in. I think it's a pretty good choice, but we'll see. Kali Lashaya 9063 says MLS has extreme benefit of being in the world's most lucrative consumer market and most influential cultural market. It is what allows Don Garber to be such an arrogant prick. He has no real competition and a captured market for domestic soccer, but they shouldn't take it for granted as long as Europe's Big Five and Liga MX are so accessible. Also, reforms are being proposed for Brasileiro that could see improvements in that league as well. So kind of extending the whole MLS. What is MLS? What is it operating in? It's trying to get its paws now into international football. And like you make good points there, it is a big 2-year window. And a successful tournament for Canada will translate, you would think, to a successful TFC in Vancouver and Montreal as well. But I mean, do we give Garber too much credit for figuring out the key to success in this market, given that there isn't really that much competition? Or is that also a little bit harsh?
I think Don Garber generally has done a very, very good job. He's done an amazing job, really, when you look at where they came from and how close they were to folding year after year and just pushing to try to make this league work. And he's finally done it. He's making an awful lot of money on rights fees now, too.
It's been a massive success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right.
Well, the other thing is a consolidated marketing and sales effort working with MLS. That could be a big step up on the pure, hey, every 2026 World Cup FIFA Canada push as a marketing and advertising in every MLS stadium and every MLS broadcast for the Canadian teams. There are some positives here too. The business industry, the business groups in Canada all falling behind and saying, hey, we're on board. That's a big part of it too. I understand the private public partnership, but it has to work and that the public side, the federation has to win. You can't have just one side winning or no one wins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's really overall, I think it's a very creative idea from Kevin Blue, and he had to be creative to go out there and try to make this work and get somebody, that was going to be wanting a fair salary to do the job.
Mm-hmm. And I think you have to. Sorry, Forrest, I thought you were done.
Nope.
Do you have anything? Were you saying anything else?
No, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I was just going to say that to the point about Garber and what he's done with MLS. Sometimes I think the 3 Canadian franchises feel like they're on the outside looking in. But if they can piggyback on that momentum, get the eyeballs, get the sponsorship, get the the commercial sector kind of bumped up, then. And they're now working hand in hand with Blue and Canada Soccer. You move away from a siloed approach in our soccer landscape, and you really get a collective effort to try to maximize this tremendous opportunity we have to be co-hosting in 2026. So, is there a link there with Marsch and his history in MLS? But he does have, we talked about pedigree in our pod on Tuesday. And I think some other people, to go off on a tangent slightly, were upset with our comparison of Morrow to Jesse Marsch. And he does have more experience in Europe. He did have more success, say, at Salzburg than he did more recently with Leeds, as an example. But I think you get a personality who is going to do the same thing that we're talking about with, these private investors and these donors and then 3 MLS franchises, helping to attract somebody who's got the right background, who's got the right managerial kind of persona in order to extract the most out of this squad. Hopefully we were talking about Villa on our foundational pod and Emery. That's a match there of a group of guys, a particular philosophy, and then the same thing happening, and the mentality, the mindset, and the approach of a manager that meshes really well. So hopefully that's what you're getting with Marsch and this current crop of players and their quality. And then you get everything around it to try to propel it to new heights, which is what we need in this country. And then everybody, and Jimmy, your point about CPL, hopefully, maybe I was a little bit cynical in saying they're going to be owed something, these 3 Canadian franchises. But maybe it's just about everybody working together. Maybe this is naive. Maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. But maybe CPL is involved. Their name's just not out there. And it's everybody together, hand in hand, working towards 26 to really do something incredible.
Do you think the MLS teams all contributed the same amount of money? Or is one?
No.
You don't know?
Really?
No.
I mean, they come from, very different realities wherever you're from. MLSE owned TFC. That's a big company. A lot of money.
TFC, we just saw in the evaluations, equal to West Ham at $750 million.
In the valuation, yeah. Montreal obviously is much smaller, owned by Joe Saputo and his company. Vancouver, again, have never been... The purse strings have been rather short there as well, haven't they, over the years? But
the what has been
short purse strings, or is it long purse strings? What's the saying there? Well, you don't spend.
I know purse strings is involved.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what the donations are here.
Well, Greg Kerfoot has been the most notable contributor to Canada soccer from a philanthropic sense, right? I mean, obviously as a Whitecaps owner, but what he's done for the women's program has been incredible.
How can people criticize this?
Good for him. Because back then, Dubs, he was doing it and there was no real return for him. And I think the Whitecap situation and the rights of these clubs in MLS going up to 700 million, 350 million, whatever, I think that's his payback. And I think this is what the play is for these guys getting involved with the national team coach. It's all about rights and the fees and what their actual clubs are worth. And I think what Jesse Marsch brings that, we talk about the comparison to Morrow, what he brings that Morrow didn't bring, and to a criticism for him really, is that in front of the camera and talking, Jesse Marsch is excellent. He's had media training. I'm watching him do an interview on TV and he's like doing it on his computer. He's looking right into the camera and he's not deviating from it. The guy's like, he's spot on. Like he's clued up, this guy.
I actually interviewed him for my Star column for Friday. We're going to get him on the podcast as well very, very soon. But yeah, excellent interview. Good answers, thoughtful answers.
Yep.
I'm sure he's been asking the same questions over and over again, right? But you feel like he's giving you the authentic, real, original answer.
You think they asked him? Did anyone ask him who he'd punched in the face? Because we have to ask him that during his playing days.
I did ask him about
You're
the
a
passport
son
issue.
of a bitch.
I asked him the question, how would you react to those who are uncomfortable with you being an American? And I thought about Craig the entire time. I didn't want to say Craig, but that's what I was thinking. So he gave actually a very, very good answer. You can find that in the Star this weekend. What a scumbag. What a scumbag. I know. But we'll get him on the show, though, real soon. But yeah, why are people so cynical about this? I mean, a year ago, John Herman leaves and the haters, oh, well, we can't afford anyone. It's Canada soccer. We're going bankrupt. There's no money. Oh, God, who can we get to replace John Herman? And you fast forward a few months and you got a pretty decent name, a big name. And they're being very creative in how they can finance
and solutions, financial solutions.
Kevin Bullen's been on the job for 2 months.
Yeah.
And already he's found money from somewhere to get a good coach. Well,
Yeah.
that's progress. Can't we be happy about this?
There
And
you go.
soccer collaboration, to Dub's point about the silos, and Jimmy always talks about the silos. The more collaboration where everybody wins, you know, high tide floats all boats, right? Is that the line? Something like
No, there's
that?
purse strings in there, I think. Is it?
Purse strings,
Purse strings,
float boats.
Yeah.
Yes. It really shows at least they're trying something new, because we knew what was old wasn't working for 25, 30 years from your guys' careers. It wasn't working. So, hey, look, if we can't bash them for trying something, especially when the result could be amazing.
Yeah.
So,
well, he did say he's got to be creative. He's going to
Yeah.
figure out a way how to make this work, and he did. So fair play to him.
Yep.
Yep.